I can't imagine what would reflect there.
But then again, I'm not a TV producer, even though I play one on TV.
Good? Okay.
We're all good? Sounds good too? Okay.
So his audio is dialed into the Zoom. You can hear him through the Zoom?
What's that?
You can hear the judge's audio through the Zoom? The house?
Through the house system,
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, well, we need to test it once the computer's online.
I think he would. Are you signed in?
Oh yeah, I'm in
Let's
the...
go through the Zoom network?
Yep.
Good, we're good to go then.
Okay.
So I suppose we don't have any remote people. If you were wanted to hear Zoom audio.
Can you send me the link, please? Kate said I could have it.
Here, I'll just forward you the
I have
email.
permission.
We are on the record now. It's been brought to the court's attention that the media has been reporting specific details, trying to look at counsel's the documents, computers, post-it notes on counsel tables. It's absolutely inappropriate. Any media who are present in this room will refrain from even attempting to look at what is on counsel table, either for the state or for the defense. Secondly, it has come to our attention that the media is reporting in detail the security arrangements on the 18th floor and other places. I find that completely irresponsible, that would be reported in the media. If that continues, the media is going to be excluded, and we're going to shut down the media center. So I hope everyone takes this to heart, that I consider this security issue very serious. And to report it out to the general public what our arrangements are is extremely irresponsible. And it will be met with sanctions if it continues. And I would hope that any media that posted such things online will immediately take them down. Failure to do so will result possibly in you being kicked out of the media center as well. Now, let's let our first juror in. Let's start with number 2. Good morning, juror number 2. Can you hear me?
I can.
All right, and juror number 2, you are on video, but it's only the Zoom video. Your video is not being broadcast. So we would like it, just like when you were in court, that everybody in the courtroom could see you. We would like you to keep your video on for that purpose. But just so you know, none of this video is being broadcast out beyond this courtroom. Again, we are attempting in all ways to keep you anonymous. So just to reassure you. Basically, and thank you for willingness to meet with us this morning. It's just for a brief matter to ask you about. Late last week, there was extensive media coverage about developments in a civil lawsuit between the city of Minneapolis and the family of George Floyd. Were you exposed to any of this coverage directly or indirectly? And we know, just inadvertently.
No, the most I got was my fiance told me that some development had happened, and that I should be particularly vigilant to avoid the news.
All right. And so that's all you know?
Yeah, actually, this is the first time hearing of it.
Okay. And just knowing there are developments, is that going to change your position about being fair and impartial in this case?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. That's all I needed to know. Thank you so much. Continue to avoid media coverage. We told you to avoid media coverage about this case. Probably better that you just avoid all news. It sounds like you're already doing that. That's probably the wisest choice, because it's in the news so much that it's almost impossible to avoid unless you're avoiding news generally. So we appreciate you doing that. Any questions for me?
No, that's all.
Okay, you can sign off. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You bet.
Bye.
Let's bring juror 36 in. Good morning, juror 36. Looks like you're still connecting to audio. All right, juror 36, can you hear me? And if you could unmute, that would... There we go.
Yes.
All right, thank you. And thank you for being with us this morning on such short notice. Just calling you back to ask a couple questions that are new. And just a notice to you, we are seeing video just in the courtroom. So your Zoom video is being shared with the participants, but it is not being broadcast. Again, just like when you're in the courtroom, the audio is can be heard, but your video is not being broadcast. So with that, just wanted to bring you in to ask you a couple questions. Late last week, there was extensive media coverage about developments in a civil suit between the city of Minneapolis and the family of George Floyd. Were you inadvertently exposed to any coverage of this, directly, indirectly? Okay, you need to unmute. You can leave it unmuted, actually.
Okay. Yes, I was.
Okay, can you tell me what you heard?
About the settlement.
Okay, and what do you remember any specifics about it?
I mean, the quantity was a large amount of money.
Okay. Do you remember a specific amount or just that it was a large amount?
20, over 20 maybe.
Okay. How do you think that would affect your ability to be impartial in this case?
It will impact it a lot.
It will impact you a lot? Tell me about that.
So last time I was asked about my strong opinions against Chauvin. Clearly the city of Minneapolis has some strong opinions as well. And this just kind of confirms my opinions that I already had.
Okay. It is a separate case. Different parties, different legal issues won't be part of the evidence in this case, but we understand you were, and I'm sure you were inadvertently exposed. You didn't seek it out. We did accept you as a juror, but do you think now with this new information it would be hard to presume the defendant innocent, would hard to be impartial in this case?
I think it will be hard to be impartial.
All right. Then I'm going to excuse you from this case because of what was an unfortunate broadcast of certain details, and the fact that I appreciate you being honest, though, in saying that it would affect your partiality. So it's not a failure. You're telling us the truth. So we appreciate that. So you are released from jury service. So Juror 36, we'll mark you down as excused for cause. Thank you for your attending today and your good answers from before. You can sign off now. Thank you.
Yeah, but.
Jury 36 is now removed from the jury for cause. We are back to 8 jurors. Let's bring in, I think those were the only 2 who needed, that time was of the essence. Let's go to number 9. Good morning, juror number 9. Juror 9, can you hear me? All right, connecting to audio. All right. You can hear me, is that correct, juror number 9? And you can unmute and leave it unmuted.
Yep, okay, I got it. Sorry.
All right. Well, first of all, an advisory that you are on Zoom video, but that's only shared with the people in the courtroom. No video of you is being broadcast. We're continuing to keep your anonymity, and so your image will not be broadcast outside this courtroom. The audio, just like before, is. Thank you, first of all, for so quickly agreeing to come back and talk to us just about a quick issue. Late last week, there was extensive media coverage about developments in a civil lawsuit between the city of Minneapolis and the family of George Floyd. Were you exposed to any coverage of those developments?
No,
Okay, so you're not aware of anything going on there?
nothing at all.
Okay. Sounds like you are taking the court's instructions seriously to avoid media coverage about the case. Is that correct?
Yeah,
All right.
very seriously.
All right. Continue to do so. In fact, I think since this is so prevalent in the news, we'd prefer that jurors avoid the news as much as they can, all the news as much as they can, because you never know when something might pop up. So,
Yeah.
all right. So otherwise, the plan is the same. You'll remain on the jury, and we'll see you on March 29th.
Awesome, sounds good.
All right. Thank you. You can sign off now.
Take care.
You too. Yes. Sure. Actually, we don't need to be on sidebar. We don't have any jurors. The oath? I'll remind them they're still under oath. Thank you. Well, that's a good reminder. All right, let's bring in juror 19.
Well, the one is gone. The one is gone, so we don't need to do that. We need to reaffirm the oath of the people that we have. Number 2 and number 9.
I think we'll be fine. They've signed off.
I'm comfortable with just going forward, Your Honor.
All right, let's do that. All right, juror number 19 is in the room now. Video is on. And if you could unmute. All right, juror number 19, first an advisory. You are on Zoom video, but your video is only available to the people that are actually in this courtroom. It is not being broadcast in any way. Again, your audio will be, but not anything regarding your image. So kind of the same setup as we had when you first appeared here. Second, thank you for being here on such short notice to discuss a quick issue. And a reminder that you're going to answer these questions. You're still under oath. Late last week, there was an extensive media coverage about developments in a civil lawsuit between the city of Minneapolis and the family of George Floyd. Were you exposed to any of this coverage inadvertently, indirectly, directly?
I have not seen anything, no.
Okay. I think the amount of coverage has just reminded us, it sounds like you've been paying attention to the court's orders and taking them seriously to avoid media coverage about this case. I'm probably going to expand that and ask you not to stay away from the news as much as possible generally, because things pop up. So I appreciate you taking your duty seriously and avoiding those things. Continue to do so, and we'll see you on March 29th. Any questions?
Sir, thank you.
Okay, you can sign off. Thank you. All right, juror 20.
My computer's frozen, Your Honor, but I can hear, obviously.
Okay.
The video is.
Anybody else having technical issues? Okay.
Just got kicked out. I just lost.
You want to try and sign in again? Well, do you mind if we go forward?
Jump on mine and all.
All right. Good morning, juror 20. Just an advisory here that you are not on video outside of the Zoom hearing, and the Zoom hearing is being shared only with people in this courtroom. And so kind of the same arrangement as when you were here in person. And just a reminder, you're still going to be under oath for the purposes of answering these questions. Late last week, there was extensive media coverage about developments in a civil lawsuit between the city of Minneapolis and the family of George Floyd. Were you exposed to any of this coverage, directly, indirectly, inadvertently?
Yes, I did see the headline.
Okay, and what do you recall of the substance of the headline?
I believe the headline was the city of Minneapolis agreed to pay out the family of George Floyd, I want to say, to the tune of in the $20 million range.
Okay. Other than seeing the headline, did you read the article or just kind of leave it at that, knowing it's probably related?
Exactly. I left it at that, saw the headline, and saw that dollar amount as well.
And what effect, if any, do you think this might have on your ability to be impartial? Has it, when we accepted you as a juror, did it move you one direction or the other?
I would say especially that dollar amount was kind of shocking to me. That kind of sent a message that the city of Minneapolis felt that something was wrong and they wanted to make it right to the tune of that dollar amount. I think in the headline, if it would have said $2,000 versus $20 million, that's a big change. So I think that sticker price obviously shocked me and kind of swayed me a little bit. Yes.
Okay, and so you think I think you left the courtroom, everyone satisfied you could be fair and impartial. Do you think that viewing that headline has maybe moved you, kind of now that you know that that's the city of Minneapolis' opinion? Not that to be honest, not that we care about the city of Minneapolis' opinion, but if it has an effect on you, we'd appreciate the honest answer. Does it move you off the fair and impartial position?
Yeah, I don't really know the answer to that.
I guess the trial still has the right to play out, right? It hasn't even started yet. So there are definitely a lot of facts to be heard through the trial. Again, I'm just trying to share with you what I know. My gut reaction to that, again, with the dollar amount being high.
Sure.
And I've tried to leave it at that.
Okay. All right. Juror 20, I'm going to excuse you from the jury. We know that you did not seek out this information, but just on the possibility that you inadvertently saw it and it might affect your ability to be fair and impartial, we're going to exercise extreme caution here and excuse you from the jury. So thank you, though, for taking the time to come in. You are also excused from jury service completely. And so unless you get a summons in the future, you don't have to show up for our March 29th start date. Okay?
I understand.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. You can sign off now.
I will.
All right. We're back down to 7 jurors. Let's call in jury number 27. All right. Juror number 27. All right. Good morning. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, and your volume is up a little bit. Good. First of all, an advisory that your video is not being played anywhere except on the Zoom hearing, which is available only to the people in this courtroom. So it's pretty much like before where your audio can be heard, but your video will not be broadcast. It's just available to the people as if you were sitting in the courtroom under our other rules that we were operating under. So first of all, thank you for being here this morning and being so quick to respond to us on being able to talk about an issue. Basically, we've asked you here, and a reminder that you're still under oath in answering the court's questions. Late last week, there was extensive media coverage about developments in a civil lawsuit between the city of Minneapolis and the family of George Floyd. Were you exposed to any of this coverage, directly or indirectly?
I heard it on the radio heading to the gym on Friday evening.
Okay. How do you think that's going to affect your ability to case? Because when we left, we had accepted you as a juror and agreed that you could be fair and impartial, but with this unfortunate reporting, you are now to the point, do you think that has affected you? Has it moved you off of the position of being impartial?
It hasn't affected me at all because I don't know the detail.
Okay.
I don't even know. Yeah, I'm not a lawyer, so obviously I don't know what went into making that decision, and I don't even know the term of that decision. I think I just heard partially heading to the gym on Friday.
Okay. Well, and just to kind of go with what you said, you understand that was it's a civil case, different parties, different legal issues, different everything. And in fact, the law that applies is different. And it's not going to be part of the evidence, and you should not consider it as a juror. Do you think you can accept that?
Yes.
All right. Can you put aside what you've heard since it's not relevant and just, again, as we told you when you left last time, decide this case just on what you hear in the courtroom?
Yes, I would.
All right. That's all we needed from you today. I appreciate it. We will see you on March 29th. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Let's go to juror number 44. Okay, juror 44. All right, juror 44, just an advisory. You are on video only for Zoom. This video is not being broadcast, so your image is not available to the general public. Like when you're in the courtroom, it's only available to the people who are here. So just so you can give you a little comfort in that we are continuing to keep you anonymous. A reminder also that you're under oath still for answering the court's questions. And thank you for so quickly being able to come in and answer a couple questions for us related to a certain topic. And that is, last week there was extensive media coverage about developments in a civil lawsuit between the city of Minneapolis and the family of George Floyd. Were you exposed to any of this coverage, directly, indirectly, I'm sure inadvertently?
Before I shut down my social media, I did see it.
Okay. And what is the substance of what you recall seeing?
I just saw the headlines. I didn't read the story.
Okay.
The city settled, I think, $27 million.
Okay. How does that affect you in sitting as a juror? Because when you left here, we all agreed you could be fair and impartial. Does that affect your ability to be impartial?
I've been thinking about this question a lot. I don't think so. It wasn't surprising that the city made this settlement. I think they made their position clear when they decided to defund the police or take actions or steps towards that. So it's not surprising. I guess the timing is surprising because I thought that civil suits typically take place after trials, but I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so don't know.
Okay. I think you've identified some of the issues here, which is, it's not a surprise the city did that, but you understand the city of Minneapolis is not actually involved in this case as a party. That was a civil suit, different parties, different legal issues, different laws for that matter. Can you accept that?
Yes.
Can you disregard what you've heard and, again, decide this case only on what you hear in the courtroom?
Yes. I mean, the city didn't see facts. They made a decision before facts, right?
Right. And their decision might be based on not just legal decisions, but also political issues, things like that. Would you agree with that?
I agree.
Since it's not going to be a part of this case, if someone were to bring it up in the jury room about, hey, but what about this settlement, what would your response be?
I just lost you.
Oh, yeah, we've been having trouble with our Zoom. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. The question I had for you was, for example, if you're on the jury in deliberations and somebody brings up, hey, I saw this settlement with the city, what would your reaction to that be? What would you say to that juror?
Oh, to the juror?
Yeah.
So one of the other jurors are saying this to me?
Yeah, as part of deliberation, for example.
Right. I would say that has nothing to do with what we're discussing at this time or what was presented or the evidence. That is not a part of this case.
All right. And I appreciate that you actually thought about this a little bit when you heard it to see if you could remain fair and impartial. Ultimately, do you think you can? And disregard what you heard outside the courtroom?
Yeah.
Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to advise you, if you could, try and avoid as much news coverage as possible. I think I've said don't watch any news about this case, but given its prevalence and unexpected events like what we've just experienced, it's best to avoid all media coverage. Would you agree with that?
Agreed.
All right. All right, thank you so much. We'll see you on March 29th. You'll remain on the jury, so we'll see you then.
Okay, thanks.
You bet. All right, was that everybody? All right, we can end the Zoom meeting. We have our record now.
Goodbye.
Just so the record is clear, we've now stricken, I believe it was jurors numbers 36 and 20 for cause. Their exposure to the settlement shows they honestly said that they could no longer be impartial, and they're excused. I am satisfied that the others could in fact remain impartial. Juror 44 had some hesitation, but that seemed to be her general thought process when she was going through jury selection here, so I have no problem keeping juror number 44 on. So we are now down to 7 jurors seated. Let's take a 10-minute break.
Your Honor, before we do that, do you mind if I just address a couple of things on the record?
Sure.
And just to make sure that it's clear, the first, I believe, 3 jurors who were questioned were numbers 2, 36, and 9. Those jurors were not formally re-advised that they were under oath. They were never told they weren't under oath. But we addressed that, and my understanding is that the defense has agreed that they're satisfied as to those 3 jurors. There's no need to call them back and have them reaffirm what they said. Agreed.
Right.
And then, Your Honor, you made the factual findings with respect to the 2 that you've excluded. I don't think that we need to belabor those. You also made some more detailed factual findings with respect to juror number 44. I would request, because I believe this will be something that will certainly be scrutinized at some point,
Yes.
if either not now or at some point prior to the swearing of the jury, if we could on the record have you just discuss the findings with you as the trier of fact, and as you know, the appellate authority is very clear that you are in the best position to make these determinations, specifically why you believe that those jurors should not be excluded based on the media coverage.
Well, I think the record speaks for itself, but I will make a factual finding that the jurors who remain on the jury, in my view, can continue to remain fair and impartial. Most were very quick to assure the court of that. And so the only one who was not was 44, who hesitated a little bit, but as I recall, we went through extensive questioning with her, and the reflection and kind of her talking out loud about her process was part of all of the issues that she talked about. So I think her statements and any hesitation was more her out loud going through her thought process. The bottom line being, I believe she could be fair and impartial. I don't think it has changed that, and accordingly there's not a basis to, on any of these who have assured the court they can be fair and impartial, that they can. I think any other record that needs to be made?
I don't think so.
The court is, of course, going to consider this in its motion that continues to be under advisement to continue the trial or to change venue. So this is more data for the court to make that decision, which it won't make until Friday. It's my understanding, as far as the May 6, 2019 incident, that the state wanted time to brief and possibly argue on Dr. Vinson. Mr. Frank communicated that to the court. We will do that tomorrow. The brief has to be in by the close of business tomorrow. We'll do any argument on Dr. Vinson tomorrow at 8:45. And the court will issue its rulings as to the May 6th, 2019 orally on Friday, with hope that we can get a written order out over the weekend on Monday. And I'll also address Dr. Vinson's testimony on Friday as well. Orally, probably not have a written order on that. All right, anything else to make a record before we go see if we have enough jurors?
No, thank you.
All right, let's take a 10-minute break. 9:25, please.